Today, Jesus is speaking about the good servants who, even when the master is gone for a wedding, are able to be awake and open the door as soon as the master comes knocking back, even if he comes at the second or third watch. And I can relate with today's parable because I remember that when we lived in the novitiate, we have a big house, and the house doesn't have electric doors. So we have to go and open the front door and open the garage. And I remember that sometimes in the night when it was your turn to be in charge of the keys, someone went to the airport and everybody went to sleep, but you were the person in charge of the keys. So you had to stay with your cell phone, ready to, as soon as they called you, you had to wake up and open the garage so people would come in. And I remember that you better wake up when they called you, because if they called you and you didn't wake up, they would call the father in charge of the novitiate, the novices, and he would wake you up so that you would open the garage. So we learned to be vigilant and waiting for the cell phone to ring so that we could open the door. So what's the spiritual insight of today's gospel? What is the Lord trying to tell us when He speaks about the importance of being awake to listen to the call so you can open the door immediately? What's the spiritual insight here? And I think that the spiritual insight is that the Lord calls you in the most unexpected moments. And you have to be awake to listen to that call instead of being asleep. And what sort of call am I speaking about or am I referring to? Sometimes He calls you in the most unexpected moments to fulfill your duty. I want to offer you an example of my own life again. Yesterday was supposed to be my day off, but they called me from the hospice because there was someone in need of anointing. I'm not pretending to be the hero because I'm not. But sometimes the Lord calls you unexpectedly for duty. Sometimes the Lord calls you unexpectedly to do an act of service or love. You know, you see someone in your house who needs an act of love or service, and you're being called unexpectedly, and you're meant to answer rapidly. Sometimes I think this call that comes unexpectedly invites us to go above and beyond towards justice so we can act with generosity. So my invitation for you and my invitation for myself is that today or even during this week, let's remember, and I'm certain that the Lord will call you unexpectedly for something. He will call you when you least expect. He will call you to do your duty when perhaps you think it's not your time. He will call you to do an act of service or of love. Or maybe He will call you to do an act of generosity that goes above and beyond what's your purview. But look what the gospel says. When you hear that call, go immediately. Don't defer. Don't leave it for later. So let us be those good servants who in the middle of the night, in the most unexpected moment, receive the call and act as soon as they get that call.